Having a system is, I believe, crucial, and we actually have systems in place very naturally. I invite you to think about how satisfied you are in the categories I'm going to share. So, I've had to build systems that work for me my whole life because I just cannot always go in a linear way.
Sabrosura pa' ti que.
Hello, everyone. This is Pam, de Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast that features Latine and people of the global majority who break barriers, change lives, and make this world a better place. Welcome to episode 339 of Café con Pam. Today, we have a conversation with me. Today, we are going to talk about systems. When I was thinking about this episode and the time when you're going to hear it, if you hear it when they drop, I figured this topic would be good for you to ponder on it around this time. It's before the end of the year and during the holiday time when many people have time off. And if you have that privilege, maybe this is a great time for you to think about systems. So, to start, I want to define what a system is because a system has various actually definitions. In simple terms, a system is a structured and organized way to assemble elements that interact in coordination to produce a specific outcome. In even more simple terms, a system is the list of steps to get you from A to Z with efficiency and success. Doing it well. It's a series of steps that get you from A to Z. Now, arguably, we'll talk about processes. A system and a process is not the same. We'll get there. Now, systems can be defined differently depending on the context and the discipline. We have been, I'm sure you've heard the term system being used in various different contexts. So I want to give you some of examples, not all of them. This is not an exhaustive list by any means. These are just some examples of systems. In engineering, for example. In engineering, a system is a collection of components that work together to perform a specific function. In biology, one of my favorite subjects is a system of organisms composed of perhaps organs, tissues, cells, and molecules. In social sciences, another one of my faves, a system involves institutions, individuals, relationships that exist to fulfill specific social roles. In business, a system could be composed of people, processes, and resources that follow various steps to achieve specific goals. And of course, we have systems of oppression. Social, economic, or political structures that deliberately disadvantage certain groups while privileging others. Many times, systems of oppression perpetuate unequal power dynamics and discrimination. Again, these are some examples of systems. It's not an exhaustive list, so don't come back at me for it. Very few, just for you to get an idea that there are various ways to exist within systems. Today, we're not going to go that deep into how we're affected by global and social systems because I want to keep this episode light and I want to talk about systems that make your life better, actually. So, we want to start with thinking about the 5 reasons, and these are my 5 reasons why I think having systems in your life are important. I share this with the caveat that I have lived with an ADHD brain and I've learned to exist in a world that's built for neurotypical brains that basically function with a grid-like streets. And my ADHD brain is built more like roundabout streets. So I've had to build systems that work for me my whole life because I just cannot always go in a linear way and just make a right or a left. Sometimes I have to go around in a circle, many times actually, and then get to where I need to get to. So back to the 5 reasons. Number 1, efficiency. I think having a system allows me to clearly follow the steps and in turn reduce time and effort. I think having a system allows me to be more productive and therefore more efficient. Number two, consistency. I think by establishing standardized steps, it allows me to create uniformity. With that, we reduce errors, aka it also prevents me from changing my mind too often. So, having a system allows me, in other words, to go literally from the street to make a right, to make a left, instead of in circles in the roundabout, changing my mind. Number three, clarity. Not only is the process easy to understand, but, and it also helps understand where gaps may be happening and where there might be some places for improvement. And this is really beneficial because sometimes if the system's not working, there's something there that might be missing. And then it takes me to number four, decision making. Because when I have a system in place for whatever process I need to complete, then I'm able to make data driven decisions because I'm able to look at the information that I have already built and created. And I can then make a decision based on data, which allows for potential issues to be identified before they happen. And it just removes the potential emotion or me wanting to change my mind in that case, or perhaps even self loathing. Because sometimes we may feel like, oh, we did something wrong, that it didn't work. However, having a system in place allows me to come back and be like, what part of the system didn't work that I didn't have in place that prevented me from having success? And then I can fix it. And then number five, on that note, success. Because having a system provides structure and therefore a much easier roadmap to success. Having a system is, I believe, crucial. And we actually have systems in place very naturally, I would say. For me, one thing I can say is that behind Café con Pam, we have a complete system that we are actually constantly improving. I truly believe the reason why we're here after 7 years is because the system we've built over time. We started with a spreadsheet and now we have a Notion planner. And I could say that we could not live without it because it's truly how we function and how we've built the consistency that you've received week after week. So, what's the difference between a process and a system? Well, the process lives inside the system. So, to bring it back to my analogy of the brain and the street roads, let's say that the steps to get to the address is a process. You follow that process. Number one, you go straight. Number two, you make a left, you make a right, blah, 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 blah. The GPS that guides you to get there is the system. Okay. Another example, the recipe for the tamales, since we're in the holiday season. The recipe for the tamales is inside of your mom's, your tia, your abuelita's head. Okay. She has the process in her head. The way she executes the assembly line, the way that she thinks about the ingredients, and the way that she decides who actually is going to put the tamales, who's going to embarrarlos, who's going to do all the other things, is the system. Okay? Fine. For my linear people, a process is a series of steps that accomplish a specific task, and the system contains various components that work together to get to a goal. A system contains processes, resources, and we could even say that it contains structures. Okay? For the linear people that are a little bit more practical. So back to you. My goal is for you to think about when in your life do you need a system? And one way that I can offer you is to start with the handy dandy life wheel. You can head over to the episode notes, you can download it, you can click on the link that's linked, or you can simply follow along, pull out a piece of paper, and think about where you are in your life. I'm going to guide you through it. Pause, go grab a piece of paper, come back, unpause me. Hello. So, thinking about your life, I invite you to think about how satisfied you are in the categories I'm going to share. What is this level of satisfaction in your life? 0, not satisfied at all. 10, extremely satisfied. Could not be better. It's amazing. Okay. Number 1, relationships. 0 to 10. 10 being it's the best ever. Could not be better. 0, ooh, needs lots of improvements. Número 2, familia. Number 2, family. Number 3, romance. Number 4, mental health and wellness. Number 5, adventure and travel. Number 6, personal development and learning. Number 7, spirituality. Number 8, career. Number 9, wealth and finance. Number 10, body movement. Number 11, nutrition and health. And number 12, self-love and self-care. I invite you to take your time evaluating how did you do this year in these categories. Just think about it. There's no wrong answer. Nobody else is going to see your answers. You're not going to be tested. However, I'll give you some bonus points. If you do this with your loved ones, if you bring your besties, if you call out your monies and just say, hey, let's do this together. And you don't even have to show it to each other just for accountability, because it's going to give you some clarity around where you are in your life. Some extra questions to ponder on, since we're here. I'm going to give you 4 additional questions once you look at your life wheel and you look at your scores to ponder upon it. What can I do to improve the scores that are low specifically? What are my top 3 priorities for 2024? What can wait? And what can I maintain? I'll let you think about this. And next week, we're going to talk about building an actual system, ¿vale? So my goal is for next week, now that you've thought about it, you have more clarity around where you are, and you know where you want to go. Next week, we'll get to doing an exercise on actually crafting first a process and then a system to get us to improving that score for you in your life wheel, or the various. Think about your top 3, okay? Your top 3 priorities. We don't want to have the top 12. There's no way. There's just no way for you to have a top 12. So it needs to be top 3. And then next week, we're going to create systems for them. Okay, listeners, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for humoring me on this short episode in December. And I hope you're finding some peace in this tumultuous time we are living. I do hope that this is supportive for you. I do hope that this episode in some way serves you and supports you. Y bueno, this is the end of the episode, but this is the time also to invite you to follow Cafe con Pam on all the places and spaces, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever you listen to your podcast. You can also download the Latina Podcasters Network app if you feel called to. And of course, this is a great time for you to drop me some stars. You can drop them 5 preferred and some reviews if you feel even more called to drop all these things. Let me know what you think about this episode. Let me know what you think about whatever episode you have recently listened to, and think about how would you recommend it to your best friend if you were to do so in reseña or a review. Let's stay connected on the socials at Cafe con Pam Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I'm on TikTok at Cafe con Pam Pod. Do follow me there. Maybe we'll start posting one day. Listeners, check out our website, cafeconpam.com. Join us inside the Manis Club. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. I promise this is going to be short, so I will stop talking. And como siempre, stay
Sabrosura
shining.
pa' ti que